Make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Welcome to Thursday nights. It's time for our character autopsy Cooper. Character quarter. And the slab is a thick sage. Was known as the voice of Picco's interesting creations. He started out with some problems for me. I'm not sure what to do about him. But Mr. A was kind of like a to extreme. And so, basically, the question was Ditko's life. So he created a better, more detective, became softer than Mr. A. Mr. A was pretty much if you're wrong, consequences. Some questions more of a detective, more of an investigator, and less of a judge, jury, and executioner. So he was more on the lines of the spirit. He had been inspired by the spirit that we could create this character. The questions, biggest was the fact that he did this stuff about students who went down on his face, his features, and also changed his hair color. And later on, they had spray that changed the color of his body and the suit and everything. It's common stuff, though. That's about the physics of it. And that character became one of Ditko's most signature creations. Anyway, so let's get this drawer open. Let's get started. Step on the first step. afraid of the he seems to be part of the noir detective. That's everything together. It's the spirit line. And then it was a shack, and then it was the question. So it's one of the more popular ones, definitely. Second main comment. So John, I got muted. I call it the things for Delphi. Shows muted. So somebody in the chat. So it's like, well, I had a story earlier that it just came back on, so it's got to be I apologize. Second here. So for your clear up, I'm not seeing anything. It's like favorite movie, so I don't know if it's me or, system, but anyway. So we're just going to wait and we're just going to keep on the film. So he's part of that. Not bad. Like all of it, has its unique characteristics, unique characteristics of the spirit. It was the whole, it's dead. It's like believed to be dead, and the body kind of uses that as a advantage. It's a, headquarters of the graveyard, and uses the paladin mask. Okay, so that's his distinctive thing. Second. So I'm just buffalo.
All right, that should fix it. I had a program open that takes my mic sometimes if I don't pay attention. So that should be better. I should fix it. Thanks for letting me know. Anyway, so when you talk about these noir detectives, that particular, yeah, fixed. All right, thank you. But you talk about that noir detective kind of like genre, it's a very specific, very narrow kind of like character. Now, it pretty much comes from the Sam Spade character, that particular style of noir detective, you find in the Maltese Falcon and Dashiell Hammett's work. And so when it came to comics, I think the Shadow was he was kind of like a supernatural force more than he was a detective, but he did do some detective work. The Clock was before the Shadow. The Clock was similar too. In fact, the Spirit used the Clock's colors, so I'm sure that Eisner was influenced by the Clock. If you don't know who that is, look him up. He's a friend of mine. RJ from Critical Blast did a story of him that's supposed to be in our Out of Obscurity compilation, if that ever comes out. Hopefully soon. And anyway, so like the Spirit had that, under headquarters under the graveyard, believed to be dead. Rorschach had the mask that changed with his mood or changed with the heat of his face, and he also had the truth no matter what ethos. He did not have a headquarters. He was like a homeless, basically. He's like a homeless bum superhero with extreme leanings towards justice, unflinching, almost psychotic, focus on justice, which endeared him to a lot of people. And you have like Mr. A, who's lesser known, Ditko, basically he's the first creation of Ditko to follow kind of this, but Mr. A was more concerned with justice. He was going to determine who was at fault, and then he was going to give them an option, and he's going to make a determination, and then they'll either get a black card or a white card. If they got the black card, God help them. That was Mr. A. Now he kind of had the white face, the white uniform, white everything. Very distinctive character, but not very well known. But he was following the Ayn Rand objectivist philosophy. Question was not before Mr. A. I would go back and check that. The question was actually Ditko trying to create a softer, more palatable version of Mr. A. So Mr. A came before the question. Sorry, to correct you on that, but look it up. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I believe that's the case. Anyway, all right. So the question. All right, it's time for the character bio. So here we go. Okay, so now the question is a reporter turned detective called Vic Sage. Later on, it was determined, it was kind of retconned that his actual name is Charles Victor Sage, or Zaz, actually. I did look it up. He is not kin to that Victor Zaz. Somebody said in their headcanon they're second cousins, but his was spelled Szazz, and Zaz is Zazz. Anyway, I did look it up. I was been thinking about that. Question debuted 1967. Okay. Hold on. Looks like this is going to be a thing. So, Mr. A. Okay. So, Mr. A. Okay. So I guess the question's before Mr. A. But they're both they both started in Charlton Comics, and the question was first found in the Blue Beetle. Was the Ted Cord. So okay. All right. You're right. I'm wrong. So, question debuted June 1967, and Mr. A debuted later that year. Okay. So, my information is wrong. I stand corrected. I will take my correction like a man. That's fine. That's totally fine, John. My research isn't always the most most accurate, and I've often said, if somebody finds something wrong and the public eye soon this year, that's your noir detective. Actually, I have my own, and I'm going to have an announcement about that later. Just stay tuned. Hopefully you don't have a show. All right. So he is right. I looked it up. Mr. A is indeed a little later that year, both created by Ditko. While the question showed up in the Blue Beetle. The question showed up in Blue Beetle, Mr. A was also at Charlton. So, all right. So Vic Sage was contacted by someone called Aristotle Rodor. I'm sure it's probably Rotor, probably pronounced Rotor. But Aristotle Rotor was talking about this substance that he developed called pseudoderm. Now, pseudoderm basically is a fake flesh that could be adhered to someone's body. Mr. A debuted in Wizen 3, Wally Woods comic. Yeah, I did read that. So there you go. Basically, he was contacted by Aristotle Rotor to let him know about the substance that he had created with Dr. Twain. Interesting name, Twain. Yeah. Anyway, so he should have known that guy was shady because Twain means two. Anyway, he should have known that guy was shady. But okay, so basically, they were supposed to like put this stuff on the market, and he found out that it was toxic to an open wound. But so he asked for help to basically stop Mr. Twain, because that they had while it'd been ruled illegal in the States, Dr. Twain had taken the formula and he was producing it to send overseas, which would be calling it a like a bandage, a new type of bandage that basically covered up the wound with a layer of fake flesh that looked real. So he asked for help to stop him, and he gave him some pseudoderm to put over his features because he's a famous reporter, Vic Sage's features. And so he did so, and they developed a aerosol to adhere it, and also to change his appearance, evidently. Now, think about how, it's comics. Don't think about it. But anyway, so he basically stopped Dr. Twain, and that was his first adventure. And after that, he kind of like became this alter ego to this reporter. And so when the reporter reached the limit of what he could do legally, he would turn into the Question, and the Question would take it from there. And so that was kind of like his thing. And so now later on, it was now there's two main types of the Question. The Question Ditko, which ended when Charlton Comics went over, basically was absorbed by DC Comics. Interesting story, that. But when he was absorbed, they were absorbed by DC Comics. One of the characters that came along was the Question, and so the Question was handed over to a young and up-and-coming writer named Denny O'Neil, one of my heroes. And Denny O'Neil kind of took the character back to the studs a little bit, and changed him and mixed him with another character in the DC universe called Lady Shiva. Now, Lady Shiva is like the foremost martial artist in the DC universe. She taught Batman. She's the one that Batman learned his martial arts style from. And she basically beat up the Question. And but she liked the Question style, and so she gave him she basically sent him to Richard Dragon, who taught her. He's in a wheelchair. And so the Question learned martial arts from Lady Shiva's mentor. And so, in other words, he can handle himself in a fight. Okay. And he wound up in a lot of dust-ups, so that came in handy. But he became more of a superhero when he arrived over at DC Comics. He started becoming kind of like the superhero's detective. You know, when things went weird in the DC universe, he was the one that called in. And that kind of translated over to Justice League Unlimited. And at the risk of having my channel taken down, I'm going to play a clip. 53 seconds. Hopefully they'll let me do this, because I got to play this clip.
Reaching back to ancient Egypt, there's been a single cabal of powerful individuals directing the course of human history. But the common man prefers to believe they don't exist, which aids their success.
Global warming, military upheavals in the third world, actors elected to public office.
The spread of coffee bars, germs outpacing antibiotics, and boy bands? Come on, who would gain from all this?
Who indeed?
What does any of this have to do with my dreams?
If I'm right, you're part of it. You're going to need my help. I'm going with you.
Hold your horses. No one asked for more help. This whole trip might just prove the kid shouldn't eat nachos before bed.
Peanut butter sandwiches.
How did you... What, do you go through my trash?
Please. I go through everyone's trash.
Best portrayal of the question. Best portrayal. Definitely awesome. If you can find Justice League Unlimited, make sure you check that out. Hold on a second. Denny said he didn't know how to write a conservative character, so he killed him and had him reborn as a liberal. Yeah. Hell, sorry I'm late. No problem, Wrangler. Good to see you. Yeah, I can, that's the thing about, I agree with the cartoon had him done the best. Yeah. Yeah. He was kind of a conservative whack job in conspiracy theorist. Yeah. Thank you, Wrangler. Hit like and subscribe, please. But yeah, that kind of had it betrayed, kind of like Ditko had him, which was a little bit on the conspiracy theorist side, more of a loner, more of a determined, kind of like single-minded, individual. The objectivist philosophy is basically a philosophy that was kind of like most popularly put together by Ayn Rand, a lady who escaped the Soviet Union. And the objectivist philosophy simply meant that right is right, wrong is wrong, and capitalism needs to be unfettered. And it's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. But some people think she was a nut job. Other people think that Fountainhead is the Bible. So, I fall somewhere in there. I think she had some good ideas, but I do think she was a bit of a nut job at times. But anyway, so Ditko kind of like had that stance, but Danny O'Neill kind of brought him back, and he was more like all about justice, and all about fighting social ills, which was how Danny O'Neill wrote him. But two of my favorite characters, two of my favorite characters in the DC universe is him and Azrael. And Azrael was written by Danny O'Neill for the first couple years. And that was my favorite run. So anyway, I think people misunderstand Rand and then attack the misunderstanding of her. Yeah. I'll agree to that. I definitely agree with that. But basically, people have misconceptions, and then they attack. Then the misconceptions what gets attacked. Yeah, I agree totally with that. Very clever, very very good observation. So, basically, if you go along, I don't usually go along like past the origin, past getting them established. because later on they really screwed up the question. I mean, they screwed with him quite a lot. Reinvented him several times, but at his core, is Vic Sage, reporter / detective, pseudoderm on the face, and the aerosol that changed his appearance and melted the pseudoderm on his face so you couldn't tell what his features were. Injected philosophy, which meant question everything and trust no one. Yeah, pretty much, a little bit paranoid. But he was a great character. Great detective, great, In comics, Rick Vike did him the best besides Ditko, 5-issue series. I didn't read that. I did see that, but I haven't read that. On your recommendation, I'll get a hold of that. I did see that there was a Vike series, but I didn't read it. Anyway, I did read a summation of it, and it did sound pretty cool. But later on they made him Renee Montoya when they were like, we would rather him, instead of being a straight white male, being a Latino lesbian. So it is what it is. But there was nothing to, it was just basically a chick with a pseudoderm face and a blue suit. I don't. There's no features or any plot lines or anything like that. She just became a check mark. That's what they turned the question into. They killed Vic Sage off. Said a pseudoderm caused him cancer, and it is what it is. But anyway, so let's get back to the autopsy. Now, in my philosophy, my character philosophy, you're either one or you're the other. That is pulp versus noir. So, what do I mean by pulp or noir? Now, pulp characters tend to be a little superhuman. They have something about them that's greater than normal. It doesn't necessarily have to be magical powers or powers. Period. It could be like a attribute about them that's greater than human, or more, almost superhuman in the way way that comes out. And they also have a definitive moral code that they don't veer away from. And so they always are predictable in that way. They will always follow their moral code. Now, a noir character, they're extremely human. They don't really have a moral code that they adhere to. And so they can be a lot more unpredictable. They're not as heroic. And they have like situational ethics. And in this case, what is the question? Like most of the ones so far, I'm going to say that he is... Now, the question is pulp. All right. Now, one thing about him that's kind of supernatural is his determination to find the truth. And he will follow the truth to the exclusion of all else. He will follow the truth no matter who it hurts, no matter who he makes mad, no matter where it leads. And, a few times it's led to people that he trusted or people that he respected. And but he's gone there anyway. And the TV show, there were times where, Batman like ordered some people around, and the question was like, "Who are you, and why do we listen to you?" And everybody else was like, "It's the Batman. It's the Batman." And he's like, "I don't care. I don't know who this guy is. Why should we be listening to him?" And and they're like, well, we listen to you, and we don't know who you are. And he's like, yeah, exactly, my point, you know. I just love that, you know, interpretation of the character. But you know, question everything. Yeah, they killed him off. They killed him off to make way in the New 52 for Renee Montoya from GCPD, and it didn't outlast the New 52. I think they made her they like broke it off into another parallel universe or something. You know, they couldn't give up their you know, Latino lesbian. So anyway, I'm not sure where they are now. I stopped reading DC Comics a few years back, and I'm not really sure where they are now. But yeah, he's definitely pulp. Definitely has a definitive moral code. He'll go where it leads him. He's very similar to Rorschach in that way, in that almost to the detriment of himself, he will follow a lead wherever it goes, and he's always going to ask questions. He's always going to be asking the question, and question everything. That's his philosophy. Question everything. Question what you see, question what you hear, question every story, and question every lead, question every institution, question everything. And that has made him a lot of enemies and very few friends. Mainly because people don't like to be questioned. They just don't. But anyway, so now the writing challenges, the writing someone like this. Let's cover that. So challenges to writing someone who questions everything, writing someone who's always on a quest, writing somebody who's paranoid, never really quite fits in anywhere, and never quite trusts anybody. So how do you write somebody like that and not make them so obnoxious that you know that the you know you just don't enjoy them being around? Well, what you do is when you write somebody that's that paranoid, write somebody that is that kind of like antisocial or you know, doesn't get along. Write them like Justice League Unlimited did. Do yourself a favor and watch the episodes where the question is in Justice League Unlimited, because they got the mix right. You know, that whole thing about what, you go through my garbage? Oh, that's ridiculous. Not go through everybody's garbage. That's how you write somebody like that. You just write them kind of like living in their own world, okay? And where things seem extreme to you, seem like normal to them. And that's always a fun character where you're like, you know, you're always kind of looking askance at them. You know, you're not entirely sure where they're going to land because they're living their own set of rules in kind of like a parallel universe to you. And that's always fun. That's always fun characters. The best characters are ones that just, you know, they've got like that one like tick off from normal, you know, and they don't always, the characters that kind of like have their own extreme kind of like way of looking at the world, but they think you're the weird one. Those are the fun characters, you know. Hold on a second. It's like the best episode is when he's going to strangle Luther with his tie. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. That was definitely a good one. But yeah, when him and the Huntress started dating, that just it shouldn't have worked. It shouldn't have worked, but it did. They liked it so much they put it in the comics. They thought that they liked that relationship so much. But how do you have a relationship between a vigilante who pretty much casually kills and a guy who basically has a strong moral code of right and wrong and thinks it's always wrong to kill. Now, while the question didn't kill it, he didn't like deliberately cause people's death. He didn't prevent it either. It's kind of like when Batman at the end was fighting Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins, where he said, "I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to save you either." That's the question. Okay. The question is basically like, you chose your fate. I'm leaving you to it. And that's the way he got out of. Now, Batman would have saved him. Okay. Except for Batman Begins, that was a little uncharacteristic of Batman, to be honest. But Batman, would try to save him, but the question won't. The question is like, you chose this fate. You made your bed. I've got things to do, So in that way, I've always liked the question. Now, Denny O'Neil, Denny O'Neil's a rabid lefty, but he writes leftism accessible enough to enjoy him, kind of like, the Green Arrow when you write him correctly. It's not that obnoxious. I mean, some people just write the Green Arrow horribly. But in other words, if you are not familiar with the question, it's a good series. It's a fun series. So, closing the drawer. So, when it comes to these neo-noir detectives, there's always a very interesting, it's always really fun to follow them because we all like a good mystery. And they mix the superheroics along with 1 second, my internet just cratered. All right, but they basically they have like this element to them as a character that just is always fun. If you like mysteries, if you like that kind of daring do, then I would suggest checking out the Spirit. Now, not the Rorschach limited series, but the Watchmen Rorschach. They let Tom King write the series. I would never wish Tom King upon anyone. So I wouldn't suggest the limited series, but the Watchmen. If you've never read the Watchmen, read it for Rorschach at the very least. Now, the question. I haven't read this, but John's but I have my own neo-noir detective. And he is actually a public domain character. His name was George Chance. George Chance. Louisiana boy. Chance. George Chance, basically. But he basically he's a kind of that noir style detective. And I am going to cover him next week. You are the first to know of him. He is part of the community service world. And I'll tell you this much about him. He has a very interesting, he's on first name basis with death. I'll just tell you that much. He's on a first name basis with death. And next week, I am going to do a show on him. And I hope that those who stopped by today will be returning next week. And you will meet George Chance, the Green Ghost. Now, this is based on a public domain character. I was going to write him for the second Out of Obscurity, but we're still trying to get 03, the original Out of Obscurity out. Hopefully, maybe down the road, I can, put him out. There might be a short story of him. Froze. Yeah, sorry. Hopefully, I'm still moving. Yeah, I'm still moving. Okay. That must be old. But yeah, so next week I'm going to do my own neo-noir detective. Now that I've done everybody, Mr. A. Mr. A might not be popular enough for me to do him. I will, if you want me to do Mr. A, let me know. And I'll do him. And then do Green Ghost. But otherwise, next week, I am going to do Green Ghost. The Green Ghost. My own version of a public domain character. And he's got enough wrinkles to him that I think you'll find him very interesting. And the Green Ghost, the supernatural detective. I think you'll like him. Anyway, so that has been the character autopsy. The drawer is closed. Thank you for all coming by the morgue, and I hope I covered the question sufficiently. If I haven't, if I missed some detail that that I screwed up, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I will address it next week. And but if not, then we will close the drawer, and we will bid Vic Sage the question adieu, and we will see you next week. Thank you all for coming, especially John's Long Box, who was a busy man, but chose to stop by and help me with this one this week. And I will see you next week. Right now, I'm doing the Green Ghost, but if I get enough people want me to do Mr. A, then I will do Mr. A before the Green Ghost. But it's entirely up to you guys. This show is kind of like, fan, powered. So we'll find out next week. Got one more comment. Let me check. Good night. I'm about to go live with Harmony Ginger. That must be another one of his great characters. Yeah, he's been introducing some characters, and I'm like, I want to live in this world. I love your world. That's one of the great thing about all these worlds I get to live in right now. You know, I just love it. I love it. People that love comics are building universes that are just as vibrant, just as awesome as Marvel and DC ever did. And I'm there for it. I am there for it. Anyway, thank you all for coming, and we will see you next week. And follow the White Rabbit. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you.